Hello. Hello. For my arts practice, I surrounded it around marketing because I found that very interesting to really discover how that works within the arts. And what really fascinated me was the whole aspects of how you have to market things. And then that led on to me having the event I did, meeting in the middle. And it's literally the day after the event, so it's all fresh in my mind and it's time for reflection. And I really felt it went amazing. I mean, from 13 weeks ago, or around about then, I was very shy. I was shy when it came to speaking to people and almost delegating roles. And I also didn't have very good computer skills. I would say they were okay, but they weren't as in depth as I have them now. I mean, after yesterday, I feel very confident. I mean, I spoke in front of around 20 people that turned up, so that was incredible that that happened. And then with all my having to then work around PowerPoint, Word, Excel, all sorts, like PDFs as well. I had to research as well and use the internet and understand that. But luckily, I learnt that through marketing to understand and use the internet to then know about the social media and pushing events out. It was crazy. So, really, the marketing, my arts practice, did help me through that. And the skills I've actually learned is just so valuable. I mean, I've gained so much confidence, and towards the end, I was delegating roles out, such as I asked Charlie to print off the final things. So I think I would print off the PowerPoint, but if he could print off the final parts, because then it would look a more professional finish, because of course he has the facilities to do that. And of course he did. I ended up with this with this event, I ended up deciding who was going to talk, what we were going to have, whether we were going to have drinks and biscuits, what room were we going to be in the Guild Hall. I mean, we got the Lord Mayor's banqueting room, and even the Lord Mayor himself turned up from Portsmouth, it was incredible. It was something amazing, and I've learnt so much through my time doing the Gold Arts Award, and this is like the best finish I could possibly do. Um, how has the project developed their art form and knowledge, understanding creativity in the arts, practice planning and review, communication skills? Well, really, like I've said, I've gained so much more confidence to speak with people, and actually developed it has developed my creativity because I created the logo. I I worked on how it was going to be presented with Charlie. So how we were going to put it on Eventbrite, how we were going to put it on social media. I really discussed with him and taken the knowledge that I'd learned from other art practitioners who work within the marketing sector. I worked out that the colours, certain colours that pop out and make people look, and then there's how certain things are displayed as well, and what you say is a big deal. The first couple of words mean an awful lot to somebody because that can often be what they read. And I really had to work on all that. So my creative things like the buzzwords and how I was going to then use paint in Word, and then actually use Word itself to create something and saving it as a PDF. And then even then working, it was just I'm speechless to what it actually was. It was so incredible that from 13 weeks ago I wouldn't have been like I am today. I've learnt so many skills that you could just never ever get any other way. Really, this was really opened me up into the creative arts. I mean, the event itself was amazing. We had, I think, around 20 people turn up, and it was just incredible, the people who were talking to me and saying how there were influences within inclusion in the arts, and how they how they perceive it, as in, because I was talking about more of getting young people who are disabled in mainstream activities, and it was everyone gave their own opinions, and it was a real success. And this whole process led up to that event, and the room was incredible. The people were amazing, and they were really positive people, which was really good. And they all had their own opinions, which really made the conversation great. If they all had the same opinion, it wouldn't have been as successful as I think it was. So that really, really worked. I mean, working on the project plan on the Excel sheet that Charlie first taught me, and then I went away and did myself. For the first couple of weeks, I was very like, that was my Bible. I was had to work via that, because it showed me exactly what I needed to do and when, and roughly when I wanted to do things. But eventually I realised that nothing can always go to a project plan, such as the PowerPoint I wanted done 2 days before, and we actually ended up finishing it like the night before. So to really critique it and make it 100% right, make sure that we got all the information required from our surveys that we sent out, it really worked well. And there was a few other things as well, like press, trying to get out to the press. That was a continuous thing via social media, via emails, to get people interested. So really it wasn't just like a 2-week window, which I really learned that. So I did slide away from the project plan, although I did keep checking it to make sure I was doing the things. I wasn't sticking necessarily to the times, but I was still getting it all done. And there was a few extra things that ended up popping up that I was like, oh, okay, I wasn't expecting this. And those things were things such as we spoke together, Charlie, Judith and I think about 2 weeks before the event, and talked about pledge postcards. We were thinking pledge, like a pledge sheet where everybody signed, but then we thought that's very impersonal. And one thing that Judith even mentioned herself was creating more of a personal edge, and I suddenly realised that an event itself, you want to make it personal to the people. You want to make it informative and feel like they get something out of it. So this pledge card idea was very, I would say, kind of last minute, but kind of we prepared for it. I mean, it was getting a postcard. They wrote their names or their addresses on the front, and on the back they then wrote what they would do in the future to help the event. And it really, I think that was the good ending to the event, because although that was almost a spontaneous idea, we had thought about the concept a lot. And the idea of sticky notes as well was really great, because I first discussed and I learnt within scouting that I've been part of events, and luckily they all use sticky notes to write down their ideas. And I thought, well, that would be a good idea for my event that I was doing and I was hosting. I was like, but you've got to have different coloured post-it notes to define what topics they were going on. So for example, one was just a generic one, and then one was for questions for the panel. So it was really then, I guess, then me showing my leadership skills and really saying, actually, no, I do want sticky notes, and I do want certain things to happen, because I know that then it creates a more personal feel, and it's something that I'm really passionate about. And I just can't believe it. I'm still in shock. I've learned so much that working with people is such an important role. If I didn't have Charlie and Judith, and if I didn't have the support of my parents giving me advice and me asking them questions such as, where should we hold the event? Who should we have as our guests? Like, who would perform at the event to have some entertainment? It was all that aspect that really, if I didn't have people and I didn't learn from Charlie and Judith those few extra things about the event itself and how to run an event, I really wouldn't have actually been able to do it, I don't think. I mean, I say that, and then I learnt so much from them and went away and then did it myself, and they made sure that it was on the right lines, and then they let me go on and do stuff. They almost set me little targets for myself, which was really beneficial, because then it showed me a direction of where I was going. The targets were more verbal, so each week we would meet up on a Friday, and Charlie and I would talk through what I had done and what was still needed to go, which was really refreshing to me, to talk to somebody else about what I needed to do and why I needed to do it. And really, it helped me create the event I did, and I'm so proud of the event. Everybody from the questionnaires I got, which I'm going to get onto shortly, really enjoyed it. And of course, the one thing that I would do differently about the whole process is make more time for... It's really hard to explain. It's making more time for like the reflection, for project plan, making sure I do that all, because I got so engrossed in the actual planning of the event, I didn't realise how much evidence that I needed to have and how much I needed the extra bits and pieces, like the project plan, like the PowerPoint and writing the reflection, kind of the blog kind of thing each week. And from time to time I did accidentally miss it, but I did make up and I made sure I backtracked and got it done. But I really felt I should have for myself put more time away for that. Although I did focus a lot of my time on the project and it came out a success. So I guess in a way it was okay, but that was one thing that I would do differently. And of course there's a few things that other people have said to me that via the questionnaire that I would definitely do differently, and we'll get to again that shortly. We had around 13 responses to the questionnaire, which I had got lovely printed out here. The questions were, with 1 being the least and 10 being the most, how informative did you find the event? And in actual fact, the results were about 8 to 10 was the average. Well, they were the only results really. There was nothing lower. So I actually found, so that's saying to me that it was really informative and people got a lot out of it, which was great. I think for me it was more of them networking with one another and then actually finding that this topic, they're not just the only people searching and trying to help in this area. It's really about so many other people want to help in this area but might not know how, and it was really good that they all found it helpful. The second question was, what was the best part of the event for you? And a lot of them, the majority, said that the performance from UVG singing was great because it was a good break and it suddenly helped them go, okay, let's breathe now and have a break and then we can start up again, start our brains up. And actually they said that my story and how I explained why I was doing things and because of my story and my background, they found that actually really motivating and really, really good. And I'm really proud of that because I put a lot of effort into that little speech I did to try and link it in well with the discussion. And actually, the majority of them actually said that the Q&A discussion as well was very informative because they got a lot out of it. We did a breakout session and then the Q&A session, though it was almost like a larger breakout session where everybody was talking with one another, but we were trying to have a panel to try and answer the questions that they may not have correct answers for, but at the same time other people from the audience were helping to answer those questions. So it was really like a group effort for the final part of the event, and I found that really good. There was very much of a community vibe for the event, which I found amazing. The next question was, with 1 being not good and 10 being fantastic, what did you think of the overall event? And again, the results ranged between 8 and 10. So I guess they thought that my event was really good. I can't believe it. It was all when I finally got there at 4:00, preparing in the room for the event and scoping my way around, so I didn't necessarily have to use my cane. I was like, oh, okay, this is an event. This is quite a grand room. Will my event ever live up to it? And I guess it did. I guess from what they said, they obviously enjoyed it and they obviously thought that the overall event was good. But the next question was, is there anything else we could have included? If so, please comment. And really, the biggest thing was adding more time. We ran out of time and it was more about time management. Because so many people were wanting to talk and contribute, we didn't want to stop them talking and contributing to our conversations and what we then tried to do. it then almost had a whirlwind that they felt that there wasn't enough time to get everything that they wanted to say in. And I definitely think that that'd be something I would do differently next time. I would, instead of having that performance and having the break necessarily, I would have like a networking session time where they can talk with one another and get to know one another, and then go into a larger breakout session with everybody talking with one another and really allowing them to express how they feel about it, and then finding out answers. For example, last night we had somebody, the topic was very much at one point about funding and how the funders, people who need the funding often use the branded name inclusion, and in actual fact they don't know how to include disabled people. And that was definitely one of those things, and somebody had lost a funding bid as well, and we were there to be able to help discuss it and trying to say, well, actually it's more about communication, which was the overall really outcome of it. It was, for me personally, each and every person got a different outcome, but for me it was really understanding that communication is the biggest key. Communication not between necessarily the workers themselves, but it's the communication between the workers and the volunteer, like the participant. So, for example, Charlie, I would go up to Charlie and say, here is my requirements, or Charlie would say, is there any extra requirements you may need for you to help out or for you to participate here? And I think that was the biggest thing for me that came out of it. Although there was many talks about funding, there was many talks about communication and keeping in touch with one another and trying to help the bigger cause. And really, the event itself was to open the discussion. It wasn't to necessarily have any answers. So I really feel that I've, I guess, opened the questions now and opened the discussion. And I'm really proud of that. I can't believe that I've done it. And another area of what they said that could have been improved was actually the tickets. Now, we used Eventbrite for the tickets, and apparently an individual found it very difficult to actually access it. She even went to the Guildhall and it took them 45 minutes to print off the ticket. And she did actually come up to me prior to the starting of the event and express their issues, and I did apologise profusely. But again, I'm learning all these new things. So I researched Eventbrite, and we looked at Eventbrite and we thought, okay, many companies and organisations do use Eventbrite to publicise their tickets for their event. Even though it was for free, we still wanted to know a rough gauge about who was coming. And I guess maybe next time I wouldn't necessarily use Eventbrite, but I would use maybe a different officing device. Or just ask them to respond to me myself and say, if it's a free event, say, can you just send me an email saying that you're attending, or give me some contact to say that you are. If I was to have a paid event, maybe I'd still use Eventbrite, but maybe contact them and address the issues further. And the final part was any other comments, and the majority of them was that they were very shocked about a young person leading the role, and they were very proud about that, and they were very motivating. And there was a few people who said that it was amazing, and I just feel like a normal person that wanted to discuss these issues. So it's one of those things that I guess this event must have been successful and must have been really good with coming from such positive comments. And I guess that whole overall experience, those 13 weeks of building up from me having then this I would say small experience of marketing, because marketing is such a big topic and people gain degrees from it, but from me learning from practitioners themselves about marketing and learning how it all works, and I guess me, like, we're working with also the UVG, the singing group, which is quite close to my heart, really, I guess, paid off. I mean, I've learnt so much, and this event was the coming up and the finishing of it, and I can't believe it. I can't believe it was a success. I can truly say that with the overall results were not less than 8. So I personally thought, okay, we've got the people coming. I was nervous that nobody would turn up. And when everybody did, I was like, oh, okay, people are turning up now. This is actually happening. This event is actually going ahead. And even though I'd plugged it to so many people, I'd sent so many emails, pushed it on social media, asked Arts Award to push it on social media as well, I never thought it would actually come true for me. And I guess it did. So I hope this reflection was okay. I just can't believe the skills I've learnt, the opportunities I've built, and I'm definitely going to continue in the arts and hopefully pursuing this topic area, because it's opened it up for me. I didn't realise it when I begun my Gold Arts Award, but I've really come to terms now and understood it a little bit more, I think. Thank you.